All right, excellent. So this is our big moment, the moment we've been waiting for all year. Tonight, I'm honored to join my fellow members of the Strategic Planning Steering Committee to present the 2022-2025 Hampstead School District Strategic Plan. The document that we are about to present provides strategic vision for our schools and ensures that all students receive a high-quality educational experience here in Hampstead. And I'd first like to start by acknowledging the members of the committee. So the committee was made up of a representative group of stakeholders that included Lauren Chula, who's a Hampstead parent, Maria Denola, Hampstead Middle School principal, Tracy Griffinhagen, the Director of Student Services, Dr. Carl Hubner, Hampstead community member, Lisa Lambert, Hampstead Central School paraprofessional, Dr. Joseph Miller, who was the facilitator with a consulting firm called Think Strategy, Erin Pellegrini, who served as the Hampstead School Board representative, Chad Pimentel, Hampstead Middle School teacher, Bob Thompson, Hampstead School District Superintendent, Nicole Tomaselli, who's the Director of 21st Century Learning, Assessment, and Technology, and the award-winning Sarah Wisecarver, Hampstead Central School teacher. And just to walk you through the process, so this is a year-long process that began in July. In July, the Hampstead School Board gave the charge to update the expired strategic plan that was the 2015-2020 strategic plan. The administration began working with consultant Dr. Joe Miller of Think Strategy. And last summer, the administration reviewed the 2015-2020 strategic plan, discussed a framework for the new plan, determined the composition of the steering committee, and developed a timeline for the work. A key component to the development of this strategic plan was receiving feedback from stakeholders. And so a survey was administered using the Thought Exchange program. This program, we created a prompt to get feedback from stakeholders. And that prompt was, as we work together to realize our vision, what new directions and opportunities will have the greatest impact on the success of our students? In total, we received 231 responses. Participants also had the opportunity to rate other responses. And I just wanted to focus on some of the higher rated comments because they really become the basis for some of the priorities, strategies, and values that you'll see. So some of the respondents to the survey commented that communication between community, parents, school, the ability to continue to have open, positive dialogue, and an opportunity to provide input. Over and over again, the word communication consistently came up in our survey data and in our conversations as a strategic planning committee. A focus on high quality, relevant professional development for teachers, professional development that's meaningful, and that helps to improve outcomes for students. There's a focus on making education fun, realizing and respecting that all students learn differently. And then, of course, a reoccurring theme was a new building addition and outdoor learning spaces. There was also a lot of feedback in regards to expanding early intervention for all students, including special education services. And so this survey data really helped to form the basis for the core values that we are about to present and also the strategic priorities. So the members of the Strategic Planning Committee met periodically throughout the year. In sum total, we met 9 times, and we really had rich conversations, diving deep into questions such as, what do we value most as a school community? And how best can we serve students? And it was really amazing to see the progression, and I'm very proud of the document that my team members are about to present. This is a living document. You can sometimes fall into the trap of creating a really great strategic plan and you put it on a shelf and it gathers dust, it expires, and then you write a new one and you don't act upon it. This is a strategic plan that will be acted upon. It calls for each of our 2 school buildings annually to develop an action plan around the priorities that are identified. That action plan will have action items, and it will also have deliverables that each of the buildings will have to achieve throughout the year. So this document will evolve, it will stay relevant, and it will change over time. There are 2 major components to this document. The first is the articulation of the core values as a school district. Many of these values were carried over from the 2015-2020 strategic plan because those values are timeless. You're also going to see that we've identified 5 priorities that we believe will move the district forward. So with that said, I'd like to hand the microphone over to Erin Pellegrini, who's going to talk about core values.
So core values are traits or qualities that are not just worthwhile. They represent our district's highest priorities, deeply held beliefs, and core fundamental driving forces. They are the heart of what we stand for. We have developed 5 core values, and they are as follows. Core value 1, communicate with positive intent. We engage in communication that is honest in intent and transparent in its goals. Core value 2, honor the child. We strive to make child-centered decisions that result in healthy and dynamic, vibrant learning environments for students and fulfilling and meaningful working environments for staff. Core value 3, relationship and team building. We strive to build relationships that strengthen our team because we accomplish more as a high-functioning team than we can alone. Core value 4, act with integrity. When we act with integrity, we are honest, ethical, dependable, accountable, fair, not judgmental, and trustworthy. Core value 5, we collaborate, culture of collaboration. We collaborate as parents, students, teachers, and community for the betterment of the school district. When we collaborate, we are curious about each other's thoughts, appreciative of contributions of all, and focused on the longer-term goals. The next part of the strategic plan are the 5 priorities. I'd like to introduce Sarah Wisecarver to review priority number 1.
So in thinking about our priorities, the first priority that we decided to have as a district was to work on empowering students to become expert learners who have the confidence to advocate for themselves and take responsibilities for their learning. When we're talking about expert learners, we're talking about students and learners who understand the purpose of their learning and they're goal-directed. They are resourceful and they make a plan for their learning. So they're thinking about what tools and resources do I need? What's my first step when I'm working on this? When I complete that step, what's my next purpose? And how will I know when I'm done and that I've achieved something that's I'm proud of? They monitor their own progress and they are connecting their prior knowledge to new information. We have a few strategies to meet this priority. The first strategy was to develop clear academic expectations in student-friendly language and the habits of an expert learner, which I just described to you. So we're going to create academic standards in student-friendly language. We're going to identify and communicate the habits and strategies of expert learners. And we will provide targeted professional development for staff to support the habits of effective learners. Our next strategy will be to develop and share a tool set that encourages students to take responsibility and ownership for their learning. We will provide opportunities for strategic and goal-directed learners. We will explicitly incorporate common vocabulary for growth mindset. We will implement tools to support organization and self-regulation. and encourage both educators and students to take risks. Our third strategy will be to develop and expand ways to increase student voice and reflection on their learning. We will implement strategies for universal design for learning as a methodology for instruction and assessment. When I'm speaking about universal design for learning, it's a research-based framework that provides multiple means of engaging with a curriculum. It provides options for students to access and demonstrate their learning and understanding in a variety of ways. We're really talking about the how, the what, and the how and the what of how they're going to be showing their learning. We're going to provide additional opportunities for student leadership within the school community, and we're going to empower students to design their own learning goals and allow them to explore and reflect on a variety of tools and resources to best meet their needs as a learner. Really looking at learner variability, understanding that each student may have individual tools and resources which will be best for them. The next priority will be discussed by Carl Hubner.
Thank you. So priority 2 is examining current programs and practices for relevance and effectiveness. This priority is really important to me. Often in educational programs and initiatives, they exist merely because they always have. We need to maximize our resources to create the best education possible. The first strategy for this is completing a matrix that inventories curriculum programs across all grade levels and content areas. We want to create a system that maximizes resources, especially the two most valuable resources, time and money. The reason for creating a system is about making evaluation not just an arbitrary judgment, and also to help everyone understand why we are making these changes. The second strategy is to incorporate instructional best practices into teaching, reflection, and evaluation. This strategy is about working as a team to find the best teaching methods possible. We want to make sure that the staff have the time and resources to do this, which will allow the staff to integrate these practices then into their teaching. The last strategy is redesigning the staff evaluation system to ensure alignment with Hampstead School District's professional growth model. During the time of that which shall not be named, comprehensive evaluations were not possible. It does create an opportunity to make our evaluation systems more effective, though. We want to move towards a coaching style evaluation to help our staff grow, not one of judgment, one that encourages risk and growth to have teachers strive to be the best district possible. And now, introducing priority 3, Principal Maria DeNoa.
Priority number 3. I think we showed you an example of that this evening by celebrating our students, having them in front of their school board and their parents, and celebrating their unique learning opportunities that they have here at Hampstead. And our priority number 3 is fostering a positive school culture that honors the emotional well-being of all students and staff. And by doing that, our 3 strategies are, number 1, improve staff connection to the school community and support emotional well-being. And that means increasing awareness of mental health supports for staff, develop activities and school celebrations that contribute to a positive school culture, providing professional development opportunities that are inclusive of all staff members, including support staff and our teaching staff. Number 2, increase staff connections to students. As you saw even this evening, how much their teacher believed in them, their parents believed in them, they believed in them, and they were proud of their work, and they wanted to show it to the people who are their heroes here at the school board. And we want students to celebrate their learning in different modalities, whether it's in front of their classmates in the classroom, at festivals, at showcases, and to celebrate them. This is their time to shine, and we want to give as many opportunities as possible. And in increasing their staff connections to students, identifying those gaps in emotional well-being supports for students, and train our staff in mental health first aid. Number 3, to identify the connections between staff and students to ensure all students have a connection with at least one staff member. That sounds small, and it is. because for Hampstead, our teachers take incredible pride and our support staff take pride in knowing our students, meeting them where they are and what their needs are that day, that hour, that minute. And that's one of our strengths, and we want to even do better as we go forward. And number 3, celebrate students and staff. Discover new and innovative ways to showcase students and staff who demonstrate and also model the Hampstead School District core values. It's one thing for us to speak about it, put it down in adult terms, but how are we modeling that core value system here at Hampstead, like at the middle school? What does it mean to be a hawk at the elementary school? What does it mean to be a husky? And to use that in our discussions with students on a regular basis, so they know what the expectation is and celebrate it. And create additional opportunities for public recognition of student and staff achievements. Thank you for allowing us to do that this evening and last time. And provide greater opportunities for staff and students to showcase their unique talents. And next, I would like to hand it over to Priority 4 to Dr. Hubner.
Thank you. So priority 4 is an important one for everybody in the district. It's improving communication for staff and community stakeholders. To be effective leaders, you have to not just only listen, but also show that you've heard those people that you've served. Our first strategy for this is aligning messaging to the community with core values and strategic priorities of the district. This strategy is about creating positive, proactive messaging instead of being reactive. We want to highlight progress we are making on the strategic plan and the vision of the district. We want to show how we are helping students to self-advocate, how our programs are becoming more efficient, how our culture will continue to be reflective and positive, and how we can be creative in our educational design. The next strategy is soliciting feedback from stakeholders, including staff, students, and community. We want to create a communication system that is a reflective part of the district. We want to create a variety of ways of getting feedback in order to ensure multiple points of view. Most importantly, we want to finish the feedback loop by showing voices were heard and highlighting the suggestions we were able to work on. We don't have the resources to act on every suggestion, but we want people to at least know we heard them, and we are always open to feedback. The last strategy is creating a Hampstead School District parent partnership group. While informal relationships are great, having a system for getting parents involved is key. We want to make sure all our students have the opportunity to succeed. We also want to help to educate our parents on why we do what we do and address their concerns through a professional development process similar to our staff. And now, introducing priority 4 is Superintendent Bob Thompson.
All right. Our last priority is to design learning environments to match our educational philosophies. And our first strategy is to conduct a comprehensive facility studies for both school buildings. And the goal of the study would include determine current space utilization and how we can create greater efficiencies for future use, understand the current impact that the physical environment poses to instructional outcomes, and begin long-term planning for future needs. Essentially what we would do is we would have a consultant come in who has experience in evaluating the physical school environment to make sure that it aligns appropriately with our instructional program. Additionally, we would develop a scheduling task force in each school to review and revise the master schedule to ensure maximize learning opportunities for students, current best educational practices of school schedules, and accessibility and equity of opportunity to the diverse populations of students. The program that is offered here in Hampstead, it's dynamic, it's robust, it's continuously changing. And oftentimes a school's master schedule doesn't always keep up. And so it is a really great reflective practice to be able to continuously look at the master schedule to make sure that it aligns with your values and it provides opportunities for children to maximize their learning. Another strategy is, in partnership with community organizations, create dynamic outdoor learning spaces for students. This would include identify and map locations for future outdoor spaces, create an annual maintenance plan that solicits community volunteers for upkeep, create and promote a schedule of use for outdoor learning spaces. The Hampstead schools are very fortunate. We have a number of outdoor learning spaces. We have 2 wonderful campuses. We can build on this. We can build partnerships with community members to help come in, just as we're doing at the community garden right now, where our community partners are building outdoor classrooms for our students. We can move learning outside. We have a keen awareness that learning does not always have to take place in the confines of a 900 square foot traditional classroom. Getting kids outside, engaged in nature, engaged in inquiry-based learning is beneficial to not only our students' educational needs, but also to their mental health. And finally, through strategic community partnerships, develop off-site learning opportunities for students in the Hampstead community. Partnerships would include providing access for students to local organizations and businesses for developing real-world skills. When appropriate, we would connect middle school students to internships, career technical education, and work experiences. And 3, we would incorporate service learning and extended learning opportunities for students. Again, there's a recognition that learning does not always need to occur within the confines of a classroom. And we recognize that if we're truly committed to preparing students for future endeavors, we need to get them out into the community. They need to have real-world experience that's going to prepare them for the future. This also helps to build on partnerships and satisfies the needs of our business community that is constantly looking for the next labor market and to be able to train their workforce. So these are our priorities. This is our strategic plan. So this document serves as the roadmap. So when community members say, where are the Hampstead schools going? What's the vision? What does the future look like? I present to you this strategic plan. It's an articulation of our vision. And I'm proud of this document because the centerpiece is the students. And I have to tell you, I'm rounding out year 1 as the superintendent of schools in Hampstead. And what an amazing year it has been. These schools are truly amazing. You have some incredibly talented and committed staff. You have students that are eager to learn. You have parents that support the schools. You have a school board that places appropriate expectations on its staff. The conditions for success are here. And this document attempts to capture all of the great work that has been happening and will continue to happen, but it also creates aspirations for the future, for us to be a community that is committed to continuous improvement. And lastly, I just want to take a moment again to thank the individuals that are here and those that couldn't be here who served on this committee. Their insight is absolutely extraordinary. Every one of them approaches this work with a different lens, and that has led to value added with this document. And lastly, I want to thank Erin Pellegrini, who actually created this document. She put her skills to task, and she didn't charge us any money either, which we appreciate. And what you see is just a very visually appealing document. So I present this to the Hampstead School Board for consideration for first reading. And at this time, we'll entertain any questions that the board might have.
Seeing 40% of our school board was on the committee, I'm not sure if they have any questions for the committee.
I have a comment. I can't come up with any questions, actually. This is an intense word, but I love this. It's wholesome, it's actionable, measurable. It's all-encompassing. We're talking about education and social and emotional well-being, and it's something we should all be proud of. Well, we all should be very proud to be a part of the Hampstead School District. Yeah. And it is a piece of art. It really is a beautiful document.
Thank you.
Got a couple questions on it. First, well done. This is really, it's been one of those that we've talked about for now about 10 months. And it's been like, okay, when's it coming? But you can see the work that went into this, so it's amazing.
And our original timeline was January.
Right.
And then there was Delta, and there was Omicron, and there were all of life's events. So the timeline was off a little bit, but the end result, I think, makes it worth the extra time spent.
Goes to a little bit about Megan said, this is measurable. So, so that it is a living document. How do we ensure that we're, going after what's in here and measuring that we've done it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think, so that's where the action plan that the buildings will come up with comes into play. That's where the accountability is. Because, the first ideation of the document was incredibly detailed and very specific. And the feedback that we got from some of the staff members, the principal's leadership team, was it's too specific. Can you pull back a little bit? We still want the accountability, but could we, each building every year, come up with their own action plan? So you'll see in that action plan, which the building principals will present at the beginning of the school year, that work will begin once this document is approved. The principals will go to their principal leadership team. They're going to go through every priority, every strategy, and say, all right, how do we conceptualize this strategy? How do we make this come to life? How do we get action on this? They'll develop that plan. They'll present to the board a deliverable, so that's where the accountability lies. And then they'll come back at the end of the year, and they'll clearly be able to say, we told you in September we were going to do this, we got it done. Or they'll come back and say, we just need more time on this. So it's the action plan, the annual action plan is going to keep this document relevant.
There was, let's try to get right to it, where you talked about for the buildings to evaluate the learning space. When do you foresee that happening?
Well, already I have begun the process of receiving bids and proposals to have a facility study done. I currently have a proposal from the New Hampshire School Administrators Association, and once the board has taken action on the strategic plan, we can begin the decision-making process around the timeline and the scope of the work that will be completed. I can tell you I have some previous experience with such facility studies. They yield a tremendous amount of valuable information to a school district, not only on the physical space, but also the instructional program. And for those of you that have been keeping up with bills in the legislature, there recently was one that said in order for a school district to be able to access any type of building aid, they must have completed a facility study. And although that bill has stalled in the House, it is likely to pass in future sessions. So this will position us well if building aid becomes available, that we can check that off the list, that we have done a comprehensive facility study.
I'm sticking on the community page or the design learning environments on priority 5, Mr. Thompson. Partnership with community organizations create dynamic outdoor learning spaces. I know it's being done over the garden a little bit, so an outdoor learning space with seats over there now for them. What else are you envisioning? Any other ideas that the community should be aware of right now that you're thinking for an outdoor learning spaces?
Yeah, so right now, and I'll talk a little bit about this in the superintendent report, right now, the articulation of this is the community garden.
Okay.
And we have a number of groups, whether it's the Hampstead Hearts, we had the Girl Scouts, we have the St. Anne's Food Pantry. Right now, that is the focus. What I envision for future space is working with, the Eagle Scouts, to have the Eagle Scout program, come in and help, build additional outdoor spaces. Again, if you build it, they will come, and the program will follow. So there's still a lot of work to be done.
Okay. And then my last question is just overall, what are you foreseeing? And I know it's really early, but we're already going to start talking budget. But what are you foreseeing that, maybe something that's going to be in the budget request to help accommodate the plan? Do you see anything here yet?
Well, I think, the facility study, I think, will carry with it some associated cost. I think if we're really going to look at the teacher evaluation system, there could be some investment in some costs to potentially bring in a new teacher evaluation model. That can sometimes have budgeted impact. And then I think, again, if each one of the schools is going to develop an action plan at the end of the school year, we'll be able to identify what we will target as budgeted items versus non-budgeted items.
Yep.
And then we'll be able to come back to the board in the fall and say, based upon the action plans developed by each building, this is what this is going to look like as we move forward with the operating budget.
Okay. I do actually have one more last question. Now, I know that the agenda, everything's out there for the public, but is this going to be sent out officially to this, the parents and to the community?
Yeah, so the as of right now, this still remains a draft.
Yeah.
And what I would ask for is this to be treated similar to what we do with policy, that this is a first read. We'd come back at our next meeting for second read and approval of the document. At that point, it becomes, official, and we're going to blast this out. We're going to go out to the community to make sure that our community, whether you have children in the school or not, are aware of what the vision and what the roadmap is for the school district. We will put the document as is right now on our website, front and center. We will email it out to families so that they have an opportunity to view it.
Okay. Do you think that this would be, I say a road show, but some sort of communication that you'll be going out to maybe the select board and others to present to this, or what's your thought there?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome the opportunity to get in front of anyone who will listen
Okay.
and be able to share the document.
All right. Any questions, comments?
Just for me, in my experience with some strategic plans, you see 140 pages, they're highly specific, and people get 30% of them done. Whereas in the military, they have a thing called commander's intent. This is what the direction we want you to go in. We trust you achieve it and to set your goals, and I think this is really good. And the idea is that the district can grow into this document and then show appreciable results over time. And also, like Superintendent Thompson said, that it's an iterative document. It will develop over time, and we may have to change it over time. So I think it's really well done.
Yep. Well done for sure. Appreciate this. All right. I don't know, Ms. Thompson, you want to stay up there, and or you come back to sit down, talk about the HCS addition? Sure.
Excuse me, Chairman Smith.
What I missed?
Would you like to take a vote on the approval of first reading of the strat
that's
plan?
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dang it. Skipped over that. All right, so looking for a motion for accept this strategic plan for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All approved?
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.